I think the defendants actually hurt their case by testimony, by taking a stand and testifying in their own defense. I think it was damaging. I think the jury led and they saw some of the inconsistencies in their testimony, and I think they're going to come back with a guilty charge. It was a disgrace, and I've been an advocate for the conditions at the cemetery for about 15 to 20 years, actually prior to the scandal taking place, and the conditions out there were deplorable. Keith Nix and I, in Carolyn Towns, we've had some run-ins. They've actually called the police on me a couple of times for doing some civil protests at the cemetery. Know that I just can't wait. I can't wait till this verdict comes down. I'm waiting 6 years for this, man. I'm joy. I feel joyful.
The type of crime that was committed by these defendants and the sheer magnitude of the damage that they did to the cemetery and the thousands of lives that it affected. We took this very personally as professionals. It hurt us deeply, and we put everything that we had into it. And that's why not only is this a proud moment for all of us, but we're so relieved with the verdicts. A lot of resources were put into this prosecution. The man-hours that went on were non-ending for the last 5.5 years for everyone in this group here. We all have our own responsibilities with other cases and other victims in the community, but we always live this case every day as well. I would say hopefully at this moment in time they can have peace again in their lives. They can have closure with the grief that they originally felt with the loss of their loved one. We tried so hard to give that to them here.
We're hopeful that the judge would consider probation for Mr. Nix, who never had any prior criminal record, and this being his first offense, he certainly would qualify for probation, and obviously that's up to the judge. So we're very disappointed that the outcome was as it was. We believe that the outcome should have been different. Under the circumstances, the 3 people that testify against him were biased, they were motivated by greed, and this is what the final result is. Well, when you consider that the County of Cook as a government has brought in the FBI with 45 or so agents who worked on this, brought in experts from all over the country, and has spent 6 years investigating and prosecuting this case, which is, relatively not a murder trial. One has to ask why. Why was all this money and resources and time expended to prosecute some lowly groundskeepers when already they had Carolyn Towns in jail? She pled guilty for stealing money and received a 12-year sentence. And I think that if you consider what happened in 2009, namely an election year being in effect, I think that one can draw one's own conclusions.
You're talking about the election of the sheriff?
Yes. Yes. The length of time, the effort, the expense of investigation and prosecution, one certainly has to take pause that the force of government was brought with full force and fury against these lowly groundskeepers who encountered a situation that was long-standing. And unfortunately, the jury saw it the way they saw it. They didn't have the full view of the situation because there are evidentiary and other limitations that one is faced with during a trial.